Hi, I'm Danny from Angler Tackling Gun. Welcome back to Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to go over UK power limits. The UK power limit for an air rifle is 12 foot-pound. It's 6 for an air pistol. There's different ways that these can be increased. This isn't a video for increasing power. This is a video for making sure that we stay legal, because that's what we want to do. So one of the easiest ways to do it is obviously continuously check your gun, chronograph it every now and then. It can be affected by temperatures, humidities, pellet weights, and so on. So what we'll do, we'll just quickly go over chronographs. So this is one of the easiest ways to keep on top of what your gun is shooting and what powers it's shooting at. So for example, the FX range, they use a radar technology, whatever that means. I'm not a scientist, but basically it picks up, you put in the information of, you know, the pellet weights, the grains, and it will tell you the speed, and it works out on a calculation, which what I'll do is I'll put the calculation here, because I don't know it, and that. So then there's the other type. As you can see with this one, I've shot it. It's a bad habit of these ones. So these ones, point A, point B, it tests the speed between here and here. Same idea for these sort of ones. So like that. And then someone's 3D printed an 8 Chrono one. But similar idea, point A to point B, how fast does it get from here to here? Tells you the feet per second. What I'll do now is I'll test different weight pellets so you can see if the power increases or decreases depending on the weight. A lot of guns, for example, they might go up like a foot-pound if they go from an 844 to a 1034. They might go lower depending on obviously what it is. So a lightweight pellet might decrease the power, a heavyweight pellet will increase the power. So we'll just test that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load one mag up with 844s, JSB 452s, and the next one I'm going to do, and they're 1033, you can see that, let me get my hand out of the way, 1033, I'll do one mag in them as well, and what I'll do is we'll just compare the power between them. What we're going to do is we're going to connect the FX device, so this is the FX app, so I'm going to show you the difference between an average weight 844 to a 1033. So device is connected. What we've got to show is change the weight of the pellet. So we're going to put 844 in here. Close all this. Go across. Make sure you change the string or get a new string. So it's a string of shots. Give yourself a little bit of time in between each shot just to make sure the reg is somewhat set or settled between each shot. What we tend to look at as well, which you'll see in a second, is the spread, which is the spread of FPS between each, the whole string of shots. I think this one goes up to 21. Any higher than that, then I'd probably want to have either a reconsider of what pellets I'm using, or have a look at getting your gun serviced. The last 5 shots, on average, is anything from 10.9 foot-pound to 10.5. So if you say average is 10.6, 10.7, we can go across here, we can have a look at each shot individually, see what seconds there were in between each shot. But you can see that the lowest was 10.3, and the highest was 10.9. But what we'll do now is we're going to change the weight of the pellets. So I'll just speed this up a second. Yeah, get rid of 844. Don't type that. So 10.33. And then also make sure you get a new string as well, because what you don't want to do is mix up the 8.4 string to your current string of 10.33. So if you want this to be precise, you can weigh, size each pellet, because you'd be surprised how much point of a grain can matter to see how consistent you are. But it depends on how far you want to go into it. in the last 5 that they've gone up considerably. So it's not, you know, it's not in the 10s anymore, it's now in the 11s. So I think the highest we had was 11.6, which is quite a jump between, you know, 10.6, 10.7 to 11.6. So just got to be a little bit careful of what you're shooting. If you are buying a gun, just as a heads up, just be careful. Some suppliers will test their guns with an 844 grain pellet, and if, for example, they're shooting 11.5, you might find, for example, that if you put a heavyweight pellet in that, you will then be overpowered. But the easiest way to do it is either get yourself a chronograph, or obviously visit your gun shop or gunsmith, just to make sure that you're all legal. Their argument can be, for example, well, the issue is if we test it with a heavyweight pellet and then you use an 844, a medium weight pellet, you're then low powered. So I'd prefer to be on the safe side of keeping my guns legal. You don't need 11.8 foot-pound to be accurate or consistent. It's not going to help you anymore for doing pest control, being full power. If, for example, you want high power, just get yourself an FAC. So it's not easier, but it is worth it if you're going to do that. So yeah, but that is all for today's Tip Tuesday.